Hey there, my name is Dr. Deborah Lukovich. I'm a depth psychology coach, author of Your Soul is Talking, Are You Listening? And host of Dose of Depth podcast. And in this video, the short video, I want to talk about writing, the power of writing. And if you like it, and also subscribe to get more content like this. So, the power of writing. Well, you probably know that research shows that journaling is really powerful. And there is evidence that it helps you do all sorts of things like process difficult emotions, identify patterns. And yet, it's so hard to get my clients to start journaling. And actually, that's mysterious because writing things down makes them real. So there's some fear behind resistance to journaling, which leads me to another study that's really old, decades old. I think Harvard did it. And what they did is they took the graduates and they followed them decades into the future. And they noted which graduates wrote down their goals, their life goals. And then they looked at the net worth of these individuals decades later. And there was a direct correlation between writing down your goals, even if that's all you did was write them down once, and their net worth into the future. So there is something powerful about writing, sort of cementing your intent to do something. And then, of course, neuroscience wise, when we have an intention, we have this thing in the brain called a reticular activating system that helps you filter in stimulus. So there's so many bits of stimulus that come at us that most of it we're not aware of. So how does our brain decide to filter out what's not relevant? Well, it does this through our intention. So the act of writing something down makes it more real. And then the brain goes to work to try to prove that to be true. Because also the brain is defensive, or the mind is defensive in nature. So it always wants to sort of prove the intention that you have. And sometimes our conscious attention doesn't match our unconscious core beliefs, and they can be misaligned, which is how we sort of sabotage ourselves. The other thing is letter writing. Letter writing is beautiful. There was a time in my midlife unraveling when I was swept up in a really ironic, odd love affair, and this person was not near me for a while. And letter writing helped me process my own emotions about the experience of being in a relationship with this person. Letter writing allows you to be more thoughtful, to maybe not be as reactive, and to say what you really mean for the other person to know. And then also there are difficult conversations to be had. And letter writing is a way that I recommend sometimes to my couple clients to communicate instead of in person, because they can't yet trust each other not to react and not to be triggered and that sort of thing. So one of the things I thought would be useful before I talk more about different ways to use writing and the power of writing to benefit you is that Carl Jung, the one of the founders of depth psychology, the study of the unconscious, would say that between you and me right now, there's four conversations happening. There's one between our conscious awareness. So I don't know what you look like, but I assume if you're watching this, you're interested. But that's about all I can assume because I can't even see you, but maybe I can feel your energy a little bit. But you are listening to me, and your conscious awareness is saying, this is what she just said. I understand what she just said. I think this is what she means by that. And by her body language, I can tell she's excited to do this video for me. So that's one conversation. The other conversations that are happening is my conscious awareness. What I'm saying is more of it is being absorbed by your unconscious than what you're aware of consciously. So your unconscious is noticing a lot more things than you realize that you're aware of. And then same thing, even though I can't see you, or let's say I can see another person, whatever they're communicating through their body, their tone, the surroundings, their words, more of that is being absorbed into my unconscious, and my unconscious is doing all sorts of things with that. But the most of the action is happening between the unconscious, between two people. And so there's more communication happening in the unconscious. I call it a playground. This is why you can just suddenly be triggered and you don't really understand why. And later on, you might even be mad at yourself for giving that person power over you to react, to make you angry by something that they said. And you're like, why do they make me so mad? And it's because there's a lot going on at the unconscious level, and there's a little dance between you and the other person. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about a service that I provide, and it's email coaching. So, email coaching is when someone communicates with me in writing instead of having a session. And there really are ways that you can communicate certain things in writing and in an anonymous way and confidential way that you sometimes can't in person. In fact, I often wondered why, looking back at my marriage of 24 years, why I couldn't say certain things to my husband, or why I was embarrassed or uncomfortable or just couldn't find the words. Sometimes he would say, "Well, what do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. You're making me flustered. I really don't know what I want." And so sometimes, even for my clients, they're not able to articulate something face to face or even virtually with me that they can articulate in writing. The other thing is sometimes we don't know how to articulate what wants to be made unconscious. So journaling is one thing that my clients might share with me. So they might just journal meandering and this is on my mind and this, and I don't know about this, and these memories are coming up and they can't really make sense of it, but I can make sense of it. Another thing that people use email coaching for is dreams. And actually, this is a great way or a great time to tell you about the Dramigos Dream app that I'm part of. And it's in a beta phase right now, but dramigos.com, you can go check it out. And not only can you record your dreams and keep them private, you can share dreams to the community, and either other dreamers can make a comment on it if you want them to, or we have 7 experts, and I'm one of the experts. So I have a talent. I have an intuitive talent for providing commentary that's ends up being right on the nose for people. It's sort of a mysterious intuitive talent that I have. So that's another reason to use email coaching. And then the last thing is preparing to have a difficult conversation. So there's a lot of emotion around right now. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of fear of not even knowing where people stand, and do they have views that are oppressive to you, and so do you even want to deal with them, all of that. So there's more evidence. So there's a book that came out in 2004 called Crucial Conversations, and I took one of its principles and I adapted it for my own work with clients. So the first principle is called start with heart, because it is this way of communicating is based on the assumption that you at least care about the other person as a fellow human being. You don't need to like them or respect them or anything, but if you want to be more effective in getting across what you really want to get across to them and getting them not to be defensive about it, this is a really great evidence-based tool to use. And so I'll tell you at the end of the video where you can find all these free resources. But that is another way that I do email coaching with clients. They have a difficult conversation they need to have with their boss or with their spouse or with a friend that they're having a falling out with, and I help them use this tool. What I wanted to talk about today, though, and demonstrate is how you can use writing to really explore your own dreams. So let's say you've got a dream. The first thing you would do is write down the dream as if it was a movie. So everything, every detail that you notice. And sometimes you don't have details, but you have a sense or you have an emotional reaction when you wake up. And that sometimes is the image to explore. So you would write down the dream and notice all 5 senses. So not only what you can see, but what you felt in the dream, the temperature, the sound, the texture, the lighting, anything like that. And then you can identify all the potential images. So an emotion is an image. So if you went from one emotion to another emotion in the dream, that is an image from this emotion to this emotion, or even this emotion alone. Another image might be, oh, there was somebody with a gun and they were either running away from you or they were running toward you, or you felt in danger. That's another image. The scene is an image. So you would make a list of all these images. And then the next thing you would do is pick one. Pick one that is most interesting to you and start asking yourself, well, when I think about this, this is what comes up for me in association. And it might remind you of a person or a memory or another scene or whatever. So you keep going back to the image. Don't keep going associations on associations. Go back to the image and say, okay, if I think about this some more, then this comes up. This person showed up in my dream. And when I think about that person, then I think about this, or they represent this for me. And then the third step you can journal about or write about would be what's the metaphor in my life for going from this emotion to this emotion? Or what's the metaphor in my life for, oh my God, that person represents me feeling trapped. So, where in your life do you feel trapped? And then the last part would be, okay, now that I realize that there's something going on, go back to the dream, and usually the dream is affirming, meaning that, and it's forward looking, meaning that it is either communicating that you're going to get through something or it is giving you a clue about how to get through something. And so, even just being conscious of that, you will, when that comes up in the near future, go, aha, that's what that was about. And I need to respond this way instead of that way. So you see how complex it can be, but this is the way that we gain powerful insights because the mind, remember, just wants to affirm and confirm the status quo. And so this meandering writing and journaling and associations is a way to get around the mind's control so that you can see a truth that you haven't been able to see yet. So that's what I wanted to share today. I want to let you know about a lot of resources. So if you're interested in email coaching, it's pretty straightforward, but we could have an exploratory chat that's free. And we could just talk about what's going on in your life. And then that's free. And then after that, when you're wanting some insight from me or a way to gain some insight, because I'll send back reflection questions or potential symbolism and metaphors, then it costs $35 for an exchange. So that's pretty affordable to hopefully land yourself a new insight. The other thing that might be helpful, and I'll put these links in the description, is my blog post I wrote about the 3 Ps of finding different, deeper meaning of your relationship. So I talk about purpose and projection and permanence. The Start with Heart template, I have an instruction sheet and a template that you can use because you literally write out the conversation. And that is on deborahlukovich.com/interviews and resources. I'll add that link. I have a free How to Work with Your Dreams resource that if you subscribe, it's free. You can download it. Also, I talked about subscribing. And then also, I put things out there like this on Blue Sky. So you can find me on Blue Sky and also Instagram. And then finally, if you like content like this, videos like this, then follow me and subscribe on my YouTube channel, which is where you're probably watching this. So, and don't forget to check out the Dreamigos app. And we have monthly dream circles that are free that you can get to know us and get to know the experts and the vibe. It's really a cool community. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.